a Life Agent production. Pro Nades. Gambit Esports was victorious at the Krakow Major 2017, consisting of Dren, Zeus, Mo, Hobbit, and Dosha. Today we will look at some of the grenades that they used over the course of the tournament. The team came into the tournament as underdogs and amazed many, including themselves. First, let's look at Train. Gambit executed a fake on A site using a full set of nades, creating a wall of smoke. It served as a distraction so that they could make a quick push onto B. Adren smokes the middle trains. He lines up on the wall and aims his crosshair just below this awning, on line with the bottom of the air conditioner. Doja is on the dumpster here. His grenade lands on the actual bomb train. He lines up at the corner of this cardboard and aims at the corner of that building. Here's another look at where he is lined up. Mo's grenade smokes the left side of the bomb train. He lines up on this circle on the cardboard in the dumpster. He aims where that window meets the edge of the building. Zeus throws a fourth grenade, with his back against this wall and upper ladder room where the wall ends. We'll smoke off the right side of the bomb train and connector. It must be thrown with a 2-button throw, meaning your left and right mouse buttons must be held down simultaneously and released at the same time. Hobbit gains control of the tunnels with a flash and a molotov. The flash blinding anyone on the B ramp that rushes all the way there. So he starts to line up on the left side of the wall, this insulation, and aims at the dark line, releasing the line in the middle of the doorway as he passes the doorway with a right click. Also notice that someone has thrown a distracting grenade at A site to keep them occupied. You can see the flash goes off exactly where it's supposed to. Zeus and Doja will both throw 2 grenades, a smoke and then a molly. Zeus lines up with his back against the wall and his crosshair all the way down where it meets this board. He lines up where this light hanging down is just to the left of the bar. And he basically just walks forward and throws. Walks forward and throws. Walks forward and throws. Walks forward. Basically throws. And he basically just walks. Basically. The smoke that went off next to that one between the middle trains was thrown by Doja. You may be wondering what Doja lines up on, and I encourage you to purchase a pair of EU Vision goggles so that you can throw this and other smokes. And you can see that he moves forward while throwing it from a crouch. Doja immediately lines up a Molotov to the left of where he threw the smoke, still standing on the railing. His left thumb is tucked into the corner of the pipes over the doorway on the ramp, and his crosshair is lined up basically at the railing, the horizontal one. If he had thrown that same molly with his crosshair up at the horizontal rail and had moved forward fully, it would have bounced off of this train car and landed right in between the 2 cars. Now we go back to Zeus, who already threw this smoke grenade that we saw. He actually falls off the rail but hops back up. You can get an idea of where he lined up. His crosshair is right on the lamp hanging from the ceiling. And since this molly is just going on top of the train, down below, it doesn't have to be overly complicated how you line it up. Then Zeus runs down the hall and throws a frag grenade aimed right in here that lands right beside where somebody might have stepped out if they were hit by Doja's molly. Next we go to Overpass with what is probably the cheesiest, worst animation ever. This first smoke thrown by Zeus I had somewhat of a hard time recreating on my own because I think he did it kind of from feel. They did not do a full sight execute on here that was really worth mentioning, but there were a few good ones. This quick molly was thrown by Zeus and Hobbit a few times during the match. It prevents CTs from running across the bridge and going down the construction ramp into water. Neither of them ever stopped when they threw it. When you go to throw it yourself, I encourage you to keep your crosshair on the lower side because anything thrown too high here is just going to explode in midair. This molly was thrown by Zeus several times during the match. He lines up in the threshold of this door and aims just over this second balcony, sort of in the right side of it. Doja hops up on these cement bags and throws a perfect frag that bounces right in. I had a hard time recreating this one myself since the frag grenade wants to explode in midair before it ever gets there if you aim wrong. You can see that he moves slightly forward as he throws it. Now on to Inferno. Even though Zeus kind of messed up this one, I thought it was a kind of neat grenade that I hadn't really seen before. When he lines it up, he puts it just to the right of where these doors meet. And I think that's what went wrong here. The important thing is that we're all having fun. I tried this one out on my own after getting a couple of faithful chickens to come along. Put your crosshair just where the doors meet. If you aim too low, it'll just bounce off the roof and it won't make it into banana. If done correctly, it can smoke off the area where T's enter banana, and you can separate the ones who have rushed in from the ones that are hanging back. Now on the T side, Mo lines up on the wood pile and aims above the right side of the scaffolding at the height of the power line. And smokes off the CT area perfectly. Adren executes a perfect coffin smoke lining up here on the rocks and here on the roof before crouching. It forces the CT defender to hop all the way up on the coffins if he intends to keep his spot. Adren smokes off the upper mid flower bed by getting up onto the stairs, backing up. And then lining up his crosshair where this line in the gutter meets the dark line. It allows him to quickly hop into apartments and to move down toward Boiler. And now we have Doja's famous frag grenade that everyone was saying they had never seen before. If you don't know already, that spot in the corner is normally a safe place for somebody to ride out the bomb explosion while taking minimal damage. Unfortunately for them, Doja damages their health enough to cause the bomb explosion to kill both Immortals players. So he comes out of the doorway and he lines his crosshair up, sort of in line with this tree trunk, and he just steps in through. Now let's see how Gambit uses grenades on cache. Hobbit routinely throws a smoke and a molly at B main and spends most of the game there. In this round, Hobbit also throws a pop flash first because Immortals only has pistols and they're a little bit worried about getting surprised by a rush. Hobbit then lines up a B main smoke grenade by standing under this square and aiming in the corner of these trusses. It bounces off of the middle of these windows and comes to rest in the dead center of the B main door. He then immediately mollies checkers by running along this line on the floor. His crosshair starts out in the upper corner of that square, and he releases it when it gets to the lower corner of that square. It bounces off of the curved edge of that wall and lands right in the middle of this spot in checkers. Hobbit also throws a nice smoke from the CT side. As he comes up into heaven, his crosshair is low by this lamp, and he sort of swings it over toward the panel, and he makes it bounce off the middle of that panel. This makes it easier for a single AWPer to hold the enemy, at least for a while. Hobbit and Mo teamed up to create a wall of smoke in mid. They stand in the garage doorway here, and they each aim in the middle of the top of the opposite window there. Of the top of the opposite. Of the top of the opposite. On the T side, for the A site, they did a few standard things. And then this one on the T side for the A site. Lastly, I went ahead and snuck in a grenade from Shocks while I showed you how Hobbit responds. In this round, Gambit has Hobbit and Zeus positioned at B. But Zeus is in tree room. So now for the next 10 seconds, Hobbit has to hold B site on his own. What he chooses to do is to smoke off the actual site in the middle of it right here. And he hops up onto this box. Let's look at Cobblestone. Adrin throws this grenade at B pretty much every round. He aims at the upper right corner of that hole and then throws as it goes forward when it gets toward the bottom of the hole. When he does it, it smokes the gap right there. When I've tried it in game, it tends to actually go in the tunnel, which is fine, but his is preferable. Doja is posted up in the drop area most of the game. He also throws several flashes over the wall. Lastly, I just wanted to show this grenade from Steel that he throws a few times during the game.